Before we begin, a big shout out and massive thank you goes to 5-Star Games and Capcom for the review code. Following 2024's Marvel vs. Capcom Collection, Capcom has once again decided to re-release a plethora of older titles on modern hardware for a brand new audience, and it comes in the form of the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. The first Fighting Collection released in 2022, and although it helped bring back long-forgotten series like Red Earth and Cyberbots, it was criticized by some for focusing too much on Street Fighter and Darkstalkers, and it's not like there were any 3D fighting games included here either. Fighting Collection 2 is Capcom's way of eliminating those criticisms by improving on virtually all aspects, and there's a hell of a time to be had here. With a loud and bombastic aesthetic, awesome quality of life features, and the ability to play classic games online with rollback netcode, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is truly something special. The main draw for such a collection is what games it has to offer, and with 8 different experiences, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is already a lot more ambitious than its older brother. 2D classics such as Capcom vs. SNK 1 Pro and 2 make appearances, and they're just as fun as ever. Whether you like going ham in either game, their lightning fast load times ensure that you can quickly start fighting, and I didn't notice any major issues that dampen the experience. They look, sound, and play as fantastic as they always have, ensuring that both veterans and newcomers will be satisfied. As a side note, it's absolutely brilliant that Capcom and SNK were able to negotiate the rights for these two games, and I know that a lot of people are excited to finally have CVS2 on a modern system. The other 2D fighters are Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper and Capcom Fighting Evolution, and these are certainly the wild cards out of the 4 2D fighters present in this collection. Alpha 3 Upper contains characters and balance decisions that weren't in the original Alpha 3, and Fighting Evolution is also very interesting to see. If you aren't aware, this title's initial reception back in 2004 wasn't too great, to put things nicely, but I love how it makes an appearance here. It indicates that Capcom aren't ashamed of their older, less positively received fighters, and with the collection's new features, it makes documenting Fighting Evolution much easier than ever before. Switching over to the 3D side of things, the Power Stone Duology, Plasma Sword, and Project Justice are now finally officially playable on modern systems, and it's so nice having these games be present in HD for the first time. All their classic characters and mechanics are present and accounted for, and I didn't notice any technical issues during my time playing through them. Instead of having to rely on third-party emulators or consoles as old as I am, players of all skill levels now have equal access to these games, and it can only do wonders for their fan bases. In terms of overall popularity and mainstream appeal, the 3D fighters aren't as recognizable as something like Capcom vs. SNK 2 to those outside of the core FGC, but I do think these 4 titles are perhaps the most important. Their inclusion suggests that Capcom has got a Naomi emulation down pat, and this is very exciting when thinking about what lies ahead in the future. Having to retrofit rollback netcode into games with 3-dimensional movement couldn't have been easy, and with how nice they look when upscaled, it's clear that a substantial amount of work has gone into the 3D fighters. It's also important to note that Capcom Fighting Collection 2 contains the arcade versions of these games, so don't expect any home console exclusive content. Personally, I don't see this as a negative quality of the collection, as the games themselves are as good as ever, and you have access to training mode, more on that later. Every character from every game has a move list that can be brought up quite easily in any mode, and for something like Fighting Evolution, this is invaluable. The original release of this game didn't have move lists, so you would have to look online to see how your favorite character played, but now with the Fighting Collection 2, I can have my jaw drop at how many moves Jetta has in the game itself. Every title here also possesses a save function, but it doesn't work how you might think. Instead of being able to make save and load states like in an emulator, loading your state will bring you back to the start of the round. I wish that it loaded exactly where you saved it from, but overall it's not a big deal. The balanced game lineup here ensures different kinds of fighting game fans have different games to play, as instead of being 90% Street Fighter and Darkstalkers like with the first collection, the represented series in CFC2 are more evenly distributed. Put simply, half of the games here have nothing to do with Street Fighter, so if you're feeling fatigued of martial artists throwing fireballs at each other, it's extremely quick and easy to boot into something else. Overall, the game lineup here is excellent, and if you're a die-hard Capcom fan, there is a lot here that will keep you occupied in the long run. Aside from the lineup of games, what else does Capcom Fighting Collection 2 have to offer? For starters, the aforementioned training mode comes in handy when learning new strategies. Every game here has one, and even when you're not trying to beat up the dummy, it can be really fun to just run around and explore the stages. Much like the previous Capcom fighting game collections, CFC2 has gallery and soundtrack modes under the Museum tab. Because I'm making this video before the game goes live, I'm not allowed to show off most of what lies beneath this menu, but trust me, it's awesome. I went through it all on my own time, and I saw a lot of amazing artwork that I had never seen before, and that's not even mentioning Capcom's internal game documents that are also present. If learning about the creation and artwork of your favorite games is something that appeals to you, then there's a lot of stuff here that will blow your mind, and I love developing a greater understanding of how these titles were created in the first place. It's a small small yet brilliant inclusion that serves to strengthen our appreciation for these titles, and they can also help us preserve these old pieces of artwork and game design formulas. There's also a Fighter Award menu, and this is home to the game's achievements. I'm also not allowed to show any of these, but I can confirm that if you're a trophy hunter like me, you'll like what you see. Every game has a set of achievements that rewards you for completing specific tasks, and they can often make you try new strategies and otherwise force you to experiment in ways you might never have considered. There are also achievements that apply generally to multiple games, and although I would love to show some of them off, I'm pretty sure that Capcom would hit me with a raging demon in real life if I did. In addition to achievements, general play data is stored here too, including how many times you've played a certain game both online and offline. If you like knowing exactly how many times you've booted into CVS2 at your local, then you can check that exact data in this menu. For fighting game fans who focus on single-player offerings, these achievement and player data statistics give them multiple small goals to grind out in a variety of contexts, and they can't all be completed at once. Clearing all of them will take lots of time depending on how often you're playing, and I personally love them. If you don't have access to online play, or you just want to focus on the offline side of things and you can't always play with someone else, these single-player challenges will keep you invested. That's about it when it comes to unique modes, but within every game itself lies unique game and display options. You'll already know what these are if you've played previous collections, but for those who aren't in the loop, there are multiple visual filters and background art overlays you can choose from. The greatest aspect of this edition is how customizable it all is, and it means that you'll definitely be able to find a visual style that you like. If you want to emulate the feel of an old school CRT display, turn some scanlines on and get rid of the background artwork. If you want to have all the games look really crisp and modern, then turn the scanlines off and experience that gorgeous pixel art in HD. If you're a war criminal, stretch the games out to be full screen. Okay, jokes aside, the selectable visual tweaks are awesome to have, and they allow you to have every title appear in the manner that you like the most. For new players, one-button special moves are also part of the package, and although I don't use them, I like that they're here for players who have trouble with motion inputs. They get newer fighting game fans over the execution barrier, forcing them to think about when to throw out a special move rather than if they can throw it out. All of that is well and good, but perhaps my favorite little detail is the marquee card viewer. These were slapped onto arcade machines to teach punters how to play, and I love how Capcom archived them for the collection. They're so stylized and visually busy, and it reminds me of growing up in the arcade as a kid, so it was a blast scrolling through them all. A little bit off topic, but my favorite one is the CVS2 marquee because of its spelling errors. The only downside to the collection's content is that sort of what you see is what you get, meaning that I've pretty much covered everything there is to do, except for one other component of the title that I'll get to in a bit. Aside from the achievements, there aren't many unlockables to be found, and your patience may wear thin after fighting the AI over and over and over in arcade mode. Don't get me wrong, I'm still very happy with the content on offer here, but I would be lying if I said it was going to make everyone happy. A collection like this is created for the type of player who is actively fighting other people more than the AI, and if this doesn't apply to you, I'd suggest playing in short bursts to avoid CPU fights becoming tedious. If you end up getting bored of one game, then fret not, because there's always a completely new gameplay experience right around the corner, and this variety is one of the best qualities of Fighting Collection 2. Here's where things get a bit tricky. Because I'm in Australia, an island country surrounded by water and deadly crocodiles, it can be hard to get ranked matches in fighting games at certain times due to our country's size, and I unfortunately didn't have any luck finding matches before launch. I'm not sure if other Australian fighting game YouTubers received codes, but it was a bummer that I couldn't play with them. Now that the game is out and I've played all the games here with friends, I can say that the netcode is pretty solid when you're playing against those in the same country as you. It's most comparable to the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, with the lobby system and online UI being mostly identical. You have the option of jumping into a ranked, player, or lobby match in the blink of an eye, and you can even choose which game language you'd like to play in. Before I went into the world of ranked matches, I spent around 5 hours playing through all the games with friends in a lobby, and we had a blast. Aside from some initial hiccups involving minor lag spikes here and there, the experience was amazing, and every game we tried out felt smooth and responsive. I don't know how Capcom has done it, but 4-player Power Stone Online is extremely fun and free of any rollback or delay. The process of creating and joining a lobby is also easy to understand, ensuring everybody can jump on with friends in a flash. You can change the game itself and their settings from within the lobby menu, so if you ever want to play some Plasma Sword, go right ahead. If you're buying this collection to play casual matches with friends in lobbies, then I can't recommend it enough. But what if you're the type of player who likes to grind out ranked matches with random players? In my experience, finding matches for all the games with people outside my country takes no time at all, but I can't say any of them felt great to play. I suspect that because I'm on a rock near Japan and many other Asian countries, I'm getting paired up with them a lot, and the connections aren't amazing. Many of my games were plagued with a lot of lag and constant rollback frames, making them borderline unplayable at times, and this was a major shame. If you're in America, Japan, or any other nation with a strong FGC, finding good quality matches via ranked matchmaking should be easy, but if you're like me, then I wouldn't recommend the collection if that's your sole purpose of playing. Fighting Collection 2 also lacks crossplay, so every platform has its own player base. Because of this, I hope you and your friends all get the game on the same platform. If the stars align and you get a good match, the experience is incredible, so I recommend getting some buddies in a lobby and playing some classic Capcom fighters. I'm not sure how many people will be playing games like Capcom Fighting Evolution or Plasma Sword in a few months' time, so lobbies are the way to go for them. But with pretty much every other game, ranked and player matchmaking should be okay in the long run. Despite some issues with international matchmaking and offline content for those who aren't fans of achievement hunting, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is an amazing compilation title, one that cherishes Capcom's late 90s to early 2000s fighting output. The presentation, audio, game lineup, and performance leave nothing to be desired, and I know that I'm gonna have a lot of fun playing this with a crew for more sleepless nights of fighting game action. If this collection represents what Capcom has in store for the future, then I know that even more amazing experiences are bound to be had by fighting game players of all skill levels, and I'm overjoyed that I was born at the right time to experience Plasma Sword with rollback and netcode. Overall, I highly recommend Capcom Fighting Collection 2, and I hope you enjoy it just as much as I do. Thank you again to 5 Star Games and Capcom for the review code, and as always, I hope you enjoyed, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.